listening to Nasty Knuckles, the Hockey Outlaws podcast, with your hosts, Derek Nasty Settlemyre and former Philadelphia Flyer enforcer Riley Cote, as they go behind the scenes with your favorite NHL players. This week's guest is Speedy Forward, starting his 10th season with the Philadelphia Flyers, JAKE Voracek. Time to face off.
All right, welcome back to another episode of Nasty Knuckles, adding a couple dimensions to the podcast where Nasty and I will talk about some hockey, some adult league snipes, and just have some fun, and then we'll get into our guest interview. So, Nasty, what the hell are you wearing, buddy?
Well, Riggs, I didn't know if you would notice everything that I kind of have on, but just captured my third men's league championship, and it's been quite an evening. I guess it's morning now, but it's been a long night, and the gifts started coming in right away. A lot of sponsors reaching out.
It is
13 and 0. It's
what a season.
Natty Ice. That's what we do. It's what we do.
It's impressive. 3 championships, 13-0.
It's a grind, man. It's a grind.
It is a grind.
Everybody pitched in, did their part, and it was a good win. Good,
types?
Great championship. 1 G, 2 apples, not really a big deal. Kind of par for the course, if you know what I mean. Normal night on
at the rink, I guess.
Yeah, it might help that I play with guys that actually are good, so makes it easier.
That does help. All right, well, let's talk about some real hockey.
Yeah.
NHL is back Wednesday, and the Flyers had an inter-squad scrimmage yesterday. Some interesting some pieces to the Flyers roster, a couple additions. I mean, talk about say a new addition. It's an addition with Oscar Lindblom and Nolan Patrick, since those guys were not in the lineup last year. Talk to those guys, them, you're in the locker room with them, obviously what they bring to the team, and then just talk about the Flyers going into the season.
Yeah, well, like you said, Riley, it's almost like having signed two free agents. Really good players, obviously. Oscar had a great start to his season before we all know what happened there, and he fought back, and it's just a great story and a feel-good story. Patty, the same thing. I mean, he had a really hard year. I know him, obviously, great kid, but the skill he has, the skill level that he has. I mean, this guy's been ranked the number 1 player at his age since he was 14. And tough start to his career, really, he had injuries in his groin, which a lot of people didn't know about. Really picked it up in the second part of that season. But he's going to be a big addition. He's really healthy. I was able to talk to him the other day for a quick minute, and he feels unreal. Oscar, the same. Played golf with him a couple weeks ago. He looked absolutely awesome, and he's so fired up for this season. So they looked good last night. I know it's a team thing, but a lot of skill on that team, and I have a lot of high aspirations for him this year.
Yeah, no, I agree. Building off last season, like you mentioned, a couple new additions or just lineup additions there, some young blood in the lineup. And then I think just a good vibe on that team, again, adding those 2 young guys, I think it's just going to add that extra dynamic. And then, having Carter Hart in the pipes with, Brian Elliott as a backup there is a nice 1-2 combo. Talk to those 2 guys and what you've experienced with them in the locker room.
Yeah, I mean, you want to talk about a perfect situation for any team, and it's great that it's here in Philadelphia with our guys. They feed off each other. Moose is, the ultimate pro. He comes to the rink every day, he puts his time in, and he's a good goalie. I mean, he had a great year again last year. You're able to throw him in, and it's like you're not missing anything. And to me, that's you, Riley. You played the game, that's a huge thing, especially when your goalies get along. A lot of people don't know. Sometimes there's issues with goalies. Hey, I want to be the starter. He didn't play good. Why is he getting to start again? It sounds juvenile, but it does happen even at the top level. And to have two guys that get along so well, and they're both great goalies, I mean, you can't ask for anything more as far as the goaltending position.
Yeah, and I agree. It's a good problem to have for any team, and having a veteran guy in there working with a young stud. And from what I've seen, it's almost like there's no ego, like you said. Like this doesn't normally happen on many teams, and I've seen it before several times where there is some friction between the 1 and 2. Everyone thinks that they're the starter and whatnot. So a good problem to have, but they are both true pros. I mean, Carter Hart, I tell you what, is way beyond his years, but to be working with a veteran guy like Brian Elliott certainly helps him out in many ways. So looking forward to seeing that duo move forward into the season. Talk about 56 games in 115 days. Now that's a grind in itself. The players, playing every other day, the staff moving shit every day. Talk about the grind within the team dynamic there.
Well, speaking more of what I know a lot of is the grind as far as the work level and what you're doing. You're always moving, you're always setting up, but it's a lot when you're basically playing every other day. And so, which means you're moving the gear every day. The one bright spot is that some of the games they are getting to stay overnight and play again, which kind of makes it a little mini series. And that does help out the staff if you're not having to go to a practice facility or anything like that. That could be a really pain in the ass, to be honest with you. But it's tough either way. And as far as the players go, Riles, you played in the American League, and you know what 3-3s are like. It's not quite that bad, but it's close because they're playing every other day. I mean, you're playing for probably sometimes 5 games a week, maybe, if you have a back-to-back day off a game, a day off, and then you have back-to-backs again, which probably does happen. I haven't dissected the schedule that well yet, but that's tough on the players. You're not going to get as many practice sessions as the coaches would like. It's probably more video, which makes it tough on the coaches. But I think this team is, you got another year together. They're a close-knit group. I think this is going to be great for them, especially if you're hot. You start off hot, you want to play as much as you can.
Yeah, that's the truth. And I think there's going to be some pros and cons with this setup. You mentioned a couple of them, but you're playing every other day, limited practice time, but more opportunity to know your opponent. Not that they don't know their opponent already, but you're playing the same 7 teams 8 times. And, there's some strategy involved from a coaching perspective, obviously, right? Work versus recovery. There's going to be a lot of rest days. Like you said, there's probably more video, just on those rest days, but you should know your opponent. And I think it's really going to build that true rivalry again. You're going to go into the season almost like you're into playoffs already. So I think, from a fan's perspective, the energy level is going to be high, the intensity, the fight, it should be there right from the start. And it's exciting. I think all across the NHL, this is exciting, even though it's, not what everyone wanted per se, but it's the best case scenario for the situation we're in. So I'm looking forward to it. I don't know what your thoughts overall on this are, but it should be interesting.
Yeah, I'm excited that they're getting to play. I mean, we weren't 100% sure, but this is great. Everyone's fired up. I mean, I think it's like you said, it's going to be exciting. It's going to almost be like little mini series. Games could get a little nastier, which, we don't want anything crazy happening, but it is nice to have some emotion in the game. I think the games are way better, and everyone will agree with that. I'm not saying it's going to be total playoff hockey, but when you are playing a team back to back, something happens in a game. Well, your very next game's against that team. So I think that in itself is kind of exciting for fans, and if you look at the 7 teams the Flyers are playing, there's pretty much a rivalry in every one of those teams. I mean, some bigger than others, obviously, but it kind of becomes a rivalry when you're playing the same team a lot.
Yeah, I think it's just good for hockey. You know, again, it's just it cranks up the intensity. You know, the hunger, the pace, everything is picked up. And you said it's maybe it's not quite playoff hockey right out of the gates, but it's going to be pretty damn close. And then creeping on the end of the season, it's going to be it's going to be guns ablazing, and everyone's going to be fighting for a playoff spot from day one. So really looking forward to the season. I'm so happy that they're able to pull this thing together and actually play a 56 game season. So props to the NHL for figuring that out. Let's talk about our next guest, Jake Voracek. You know him well. You're in the locker room with him for several years.
Yeah.
Talk to his character, personality, and what he brings to the team.
Well, as you know Jake a little bit as well. I mean, character's a perfect way to describe him because he would be a great cartoon character, actually. just look at him and he'll tell you that. But he's just a great guy, good person. He's got a huge heart. But as far as, his hockey, he's obviously we all watch him play. He's an absolute horse out there. He does come to play every night. He talks, in our episode with him, he talks a little bit about the body fat situation, which I think Jakey's always going to have, as he explains a little bit about the food that he likes to eat. But he's great, man. In the room, he's huge. He's a funny guy. I love when he snaps. It's almost hard to not laugh, just the way he sounds.
Right.
And he talks a bit about that too with us. But great guy. And he was unbelievable to me. The 8 years I've been able to spend with him. Just a great friend too.
Yeah, he's a funny dude, and I love his intensity, on and off the ice, and he really does care. He's one of those guys that I know like fans like to get all over him when he's not scoring, but this guy, I mean, he is a high end player, and the speed, the change of speed, just the vision, and again, I love his compete. And hearing him talk about it, you really understand that he does care. Hearing him talk about, let's say a couple of the stories that you hear in the episode, but an overall character guy. I was so happy to, be able to get him on the Nasty Knuckles podcast. It was a treat for sure.
All right, great. Well, let's get into this interview with Jake Voracek, which is brought to you by DraftKings. While the holiday season may be over, the sports calendar is in full swing this week. From collegiate to professional sports, there is no shortage of action, and there's no better place to get in all of this action than with DraftKings Sportsbook, America's top-rated sportsbook app. If you haven't tried out DraftKings Sportsbook, what are you waiting for? To celebrate this year's football playoffs, DraftKings is giving all new users the chance to bet on any of this weekend's professional football games at 100-1 odds. That's right. All you have to do is bet $1 on any football game this weekend, and if your team wins, you cash in $100. That's a sick deal. While we are all excited for football, let's not forget the 2021 hockey season is facing off this week. So head to the app now to check out all DraftKings Daily Odd Boost to help you make it rain. DraftKings is safe, secure, and reliable, making it easy for you to deposit and withdraw your money at your convenience. Download the top-rated DraftKings Sportsbook app now and use promo code KNUCKLES when you sign up to get 100-1 odds on any football games this weekend. That's code KNUCKLES for new players to get a shot at $100 on any football action this weekend for a limited time only at DraftKings Sportsbook. You must be 21 or older, New Jersey, Indiana, or Pennsylvania only. Restrictions apply. See DraftKings.com/sportsbook for details. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or in Indiana, 1-800-9-WITHIT. Again, 1-800-9-WITH-IT.
Welcome back to Nasty Knuckles. I'm Riley Cote.
I'm Derek Settlemyre, and we have an absolutely awesome guest today, one of my favorite players. I say that a lot, but this guy is truly one of my favorite players. He's an absolute legend already, and he's got lots of hockey left. Jake Voracek.
Hey guys, thanks for having me.
Yeah, thanks for coming by.
Thanks for coming, man.
Thank
it's
you.
huge for us. We really appreciate it, man.
You look nervous.
Me? Never. You know that. Never, man.
Is he nasty nervous?
No.
Today, first time.
Yeah.
No. Jakey, so there's a lot to cover with you. want to start off with you growing up in Czech, you know, and you making your move over to the Q, playing in Halifax. So tell us a little bit about that, how that worked.
Well, I was about 16 years old when I led the league in scoring in juniors back home. Yeah.
No big deal.
Yeah, high expectations from the get-go. So, and then my agent Peter Svoboda, ex-Flyer as well, great guy as well.
Yeah, awesome guy.
You guys know him as well. He told me that there's a chance for me to go to Halifax. So I kind of, you know, try to figure out where is Halifax, what kind of city it is, and so yeah, let's go for it. So then I got drafted, first overall. First overall in import draft. It's not really, it's not really big, but so that was the first milestone. I got drafted. Went there at 17. Got a great family, great billets, and just
you're a bit of you're kind of mama's boy, right? Like, so was that tough?
Well, you know what? I've been saying that because I heard it a lot.
Yeah.
But then my dad, which always is pretty strict, he said, "No, it's not true. Like, you've never been a mama's boy. I mean, she took care of me, obviously.
Right.
You know, I was always a little jakey for her, but you know, I never. He said no, so I was like, all right, well, that's new for me, and I just left. My dad got drunk that night, like really fucked up. So you know, he couldn't even walk from there because he was so nervous, right? So you know, his son, you know, just turned 17. You know, first time flying on my own somewhere, you know, all the way across the world. So I texted home, then I landed, and he went straight to the pub. Just sat there for a couple hours, and then almost didn't make it home. So
no,
oh, wow,
you've never done that. Like,
it never happened to me.
No, never.
So
that's awesome, man. What was it like? You know, going to you probably didn't speak much English, if you spoke any.
I speak fuck all.
Nothing.
I was just asking for everything. And I remember one thing that's pretty funny. So I sat down with my billets. Great people, by the way. We're still in contact. They were in Philly last year.
Oh,
amazing people, like my second parent, basically. So so I showed up there, and I don't know, for some fucked up reason, my mom always told me, ask them if they're gonna wash your clothes, like wash and dry. So I'm sitting there, don't understand what they're talking about. I had one Czech teammate there, so he's translating everything. So, and then I ask him in Czech, he's looking at me like, is that a really question you want to ask right now? I was like, yeah, you know, my mom told me to ask.
But you're not a mama's boy.
So he was asking, he was like, so who's going to wash his clothes? Is it okay? So Danelda, which was my billet mom's name, it's like, yeah, me, like, it's already like taken care of. We know how to work this. Like, you are our third or fourth guy. Like, relax, you know.
Yeah.
I was like, yeah. So I called home, you know, right after. I was like, yeah, don't worry, it's taken care of. I can't believe it was my first fucking question towards them. You know?
You're not gonna be wearing dirty clothes all year.
Yeah,
no,
just making sure the Canadians know how to clean your clothes. What was the biggest adjustment for you coming from Czech and playing in the or the Canadian Hockey League, sorry, in the Quebec League?
I think I was lucky. I wasn't obviously as physical or as built up, you know, muscle wise, or you know, as those other guys. I mean, I walk in for a training camp day one. And the first guy I see between the door was Kirk Forrest. He was a tough guy. He was about 6'4", 230, but lean, like
oh boy,
like Milan Jurčina lean.
Oh okay, yeah.
Like
I know
that kind.
Yep.
Sure.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm looking at him.
What did I do?
I look at myself. I was about 180, 185, and I'm like, come on, like this is not gonna work. Like I'm fucking, you know, I gotta go somewhere else. Like, or I gotta go back home. Or I was like, all right, well, you know, we haven't skated yet. We'll see. So then I stepped on the ice, and just went from there. Started dominating basically from the first practice. And I remember we were playing 4-on-4 tournament, like the second day of training camp. And in one game I scored like 4 goals, and my 4th goal was through the legs, like through the legs, top shelf. So everybody was like looking at me like, who's this fucking guy? And basically, I would say even with that started with training camp, I kind of earned the respect of my teammates because sometimes when you have an import like that and he shows up and he's not really good, but the coaches and GM obviously pushing for him to play because he's a high pick or whatever. So they kind of looking at you, you know, distinctively in some kind of way, which you can't blame them for.
Yeah.
Right.
Because you're taking
a spot,
job, basically.
Right, yeah,
you know what I mean? So so since then I could do whatever I wanted, and I had a freeway all the way for the next 2 years. And and I had a great teammates and great setup there. Everything was just clicking from the get-go.
That's awesome.
Did you have to find yourself like adjusting your game, or are you just like that skilled in that moment that you just were able to play your game and not really worry about this new dimension to hockey that you weren't used to?
That's kind of weird because I always like playing one-on-ones, right? Like because I have a pretty good frame, I'm pretty strong on my legs, so it was always an advantage for me. When I had a guy on me, I could hold the puck and then maybe spin off or kind of pin him to the board, just kind of find my way to the net or to make the play. So with the ice being smaller and me never playing on it, I kind of find it better for me because you have less time to think.
Right.
So I would say I was pretty good, like passer, or with my vision, I was pretty good with that since I was a little. So for me, it wasn't an adjustment with the pace or with the game. It was just about to kind of get used to that North American style. You know what I mean? I mean, Europeans love to hold the puck all the time.
Yeah, sure.
Maybe turn it back, give it to the D, give it another try, swing away. And this obviously is North and South. So when you kind of find the balance between what you can and what you can do, that was the perfect time, and I was lucky enough to find it pretty quickly.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So you get drafted, and you go to Columbus. Your buddy Kami, you end up. I remember you've told me a few stories about him, and he was your first roommate.
Yeah.
He's a bit of a beauty.
Oh my God. Yeah, we are still in touch. We see each other when we can, when we meet in Calgary or something. That guy had so many stories. I was like, a lot of them can go out, but
yeah, right.
But I think I said it somewhere before. It was my rookie party in Vancouver, and so I get
not
to
a
my
bad place. For
Yeah, right.
Yeah, it was good. It was great.
The Roxy?
It was a great time. Roxy.
Yeah.
That's the classic.
She would love the music.
Yeah, music. So I ended up coming home. I don't know what time it was. It was late, and Kami had a girl there. I think there wasn't he didn't have a girlfriend, so he was single. So he had a girl there. They were already like almost passed out. All right, fuck. So I lie down. All right, fall asleep. 8:30. I'm drying my mouth. I'm tired. I'm drunk. I'm hungover. I turn around and I see the only girl in the bed. I'm like, where the fuck is Kami? So I look between the beds. Kami, with his frame, 6'4", 6'5". No pillow, no blanket, butt ass naked, just laying there like this, snoring, with his Sasquatch body, with his big hair. You know what I mean?
Yeah, oh yeah.
I'm like, what the fuck is this? I was like, all right.
My God.
So I get up, I was like, Kami, wake up. He was like, what? And he's a really smart guy.
Yeah.
So he talks really well, and his voice is really deep. So he makes it even funnier when he talks. I just have a great memories with that guy. Oh my God, he was really good to all the young guys. He was really good leader. Spoke his mind, which obviously in the end kind of fucked him. But that's usually how it goes with the players and with people like that. When you stand up for something, you usually get punished. So I think it was his case.
Now you ended up with Hitch there.
Yeah,
we all have some Hitch.
We
all have some good Hitch stories. Hitch was really good to me, and I only really was with him for about 10 games because he was let go. But you got any good things with Hitch?
With Hitch, yeah. Well, I gotta start with some compliments here because, obviously when you are a young guy, you don't kind of know what he's trying to do with you, or when he's hard on you, like saying why or
yeah.
you know what I mean. Like
right.
you don't get
sure,
it, obviously, right? Before you find a way. So he was hard on me. He was hard on all the young guys, and right now I was saying that before as well, that I don't think I would be a player as I am right now with mental toughness and just being a player I am right now without him being there for a year and a half, something like that, and he got fired. But yeah, Hitch was something else. I mean, he loved to bottle on the battle. Am I saying
battle?
That? Bottle.
Yeah.
Sorry about that.
It's okay.
Bottle.
Battle.
Like, what the fuck? So he'll have to battle on a bench.
Oh yeah.
And, there was, but if you showed him that kind of, you don't back down,
right?
Kind of respect it.
Yeah.
But that kind of old school way, what I mean? Which I think it's missing a lot these days in the anywhere you go, basically.
He seemed, I know, like the few games, like I said, that I was with, like guys turn around and tell him to beat it.
Yeah.
But it was the next day he never held it
Yeah.
against anyone.
Yeah.
Because like you said, he was
that's the way to do
That's,
it, right?
that's the way
Yeah,
to do it.
There's a lot of
Exactly.
emotions.
exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
You get stuck in the zone for 2 minutes. You're dead tired. You
Yeah.
can't breathe.
You're-
You block the shot. You got hit probably.
Yeah.
You know that's the last thing you wanna do is to get yelled at from the
Jake,
coach.
fuck Jake.
Wake the fuck out.
Jake used to come back to the bench when I was with the team, and sometimes have a long shift. He's tired, and it was so funny because Lappy used to come up to you and try to talk, and Jake would be like, let me fucking get my breath. So then it turned into Lappy would come and stand beside me. If Jake was sitting in front of me, he would wait, and then like 20 seconds go by, Jake would be like, what?
Yeah, right.
You know, like,
he
and
knows
it-
it's coming.
Lappy would just stand
Let's
there,
go.
hey,
Let's
wait
go.
on you, like.
Yeah, we have so many
Get
good
your-
stories. Like
Yeah.
that's sometimes during the game some shit happens.
Oh yeah,
That's
it's an
just
emotional
so
game,
funny.
man, yeah.
You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
so funny. Like we had me, Simmer. I remember like it was I don't know what year was that. Like we were pretty demanding on our power play, right? In Philly. That's why I think we were so good because we were demanding. If one power play didn't go well, all right, you started looking around. You're like, all right, guys, wake the fuck up.
Yeah.
The second power play statement and something got screwed. It was a battle, like on the bench, like.
Oh, yeah.
Fuck you, G. Fuck you, Simmer. Simmer's bitching at us. Then fucking, I'm getting between them, and then I fucking, telling Simmer to go fuck himself.
That's the truth, too,
And
man.
Simmer's telling me, fucking, let's go right now. I'm like, let's go. So, and it settled. We go out on the next power play, and it started zipping
Yeah,
around.
right,
And
yeah.
we come
That's
back,
true.
and we just, all right, that's the way to do it.
It's
and after the period, you come to the locker room and we just laugh about it. You
Yeah,
know?
oh, yeah.
You know what I mean?
It's,
So that's-
it's one of those things too. Like you've seen it, Rob.
Oh, yeah.
When you guys would do that, I'd just be like, oh God, like,
Yeah.
what's going on? And then, like you say, you go out, you score a goal, and everybody's happy. But if we could have had like that stuff mic'd, just
Oh man,
just
it's
to go
gold.
back later,
Gold.
you'd laugh your ass off.
even with Chief, I
Oh my God.
my Chief was like I grew as a player under him, like you know what I mean. I had breakout seasons under him, 13, 14, 14, 15, and like the shit he said sometimes to like, oh my God, like I was seriously like you couldn't go on the ice because you were laughing for so long.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, oh,
You got
yeah.
off the ice, he says something and you start laughing, and then it was your turn again, 2.5, 3 minutes left. And you just you jumped on the ice and you were still smiling, like
From him,
with
yeah.
Ralph. You remember with Ralph?
Oh God, he used
So
to.
Ralph went. There was like 3-on-1, whatever, or clear cut 2-on-1, 3-on-2. I can't remember right now correctly. And somebody from the other team called for a drop. So Ralph went. That was right by the bench. Ralph went and he just dropped it to him. Gone the other way, 2-on-1. Absolutely, they didn't score. Ralphie's face like.
Oh man.
What was that? And then Chief goes like, Rafa, are you fucking brain dead or so? And then all of them just started
The whole
dying
bench
laughing.
and
You know,
Raffy's laughing.
And Rafa's like, that was such a good memories, man. Like,
Oh,
it's
it's funny.
there's so many little things that are happening. It just makes you crack up. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, you mentioned Chief, and we had Chief on 2 episodes ago, and he actually mentioned you, and these types of little beefs on the bench and stuff
Yeah,
like that.
yeah.
Talk about your relationship with Chief, because I know he's you mentioned it a little bit already, but how much is his character and his presence has an effect on not just yourself but the team itself.
Oh, huge.
Yeah.
Huge. I was so happy for him when he got the job
Yeah,
in
me
St.
too.
Louis, and he found a way to he found a way to win the cup with them, because he's a great guy.
Yeah.
He's a stand-up guy that's standing up for you. He doesn't bury you in the papers as a
Yeah.
coach. When he thinks something, he says that too. He means it well. He try to help you, which
Yeah.
is different. Some coaches just try to bury you, right?
Sure.
So he just said the way it is and try to help you out. He's hard on you, but in a good way, which you as a guy, if you're normal, you appreciate, right?
Yeah.
So with Chief, like when he was an assistant, when Lavi was here, like there was the same thing. So there was me, Simmer, G, and then Chief would hop in. So we had a 4-way battle.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then when he was a head coach, obviously you can pull that shit as much, but you know
Right.
what I mean? Like
Yeah.
kind of, if you disagree, kind of talk it out on the bench in front of young guys or whatever. But yeah, I remember 13, 14, he was really, when he took over, he was really hard on me, even harder than when he was an assistant coach. When an assistant coach, you take it as a fun, some kind of way. But as a head coach, you're like, all right, fuck, like, Chief, like, what do you want from me? You know what I mean? Like, did I steal your fucking lunch money or what?
Yeah, right.
And he just started dying laughing. He was like, no, I'm just fucking pushing you, man. Relax. I was like, all right, fair enough. And I just absolutely took off. That was the
Yeah,
that
you
was the
did.
year when I think G didn't score for like 16 games. Remember, we had
Yeah.
a bad start, and then G went on to being a candidate for MVP, and we lost to Rangers in the Game 7.
Game 7, yeah.
But we didn't have much depth,
Right.
that year, and he just absolutely one of the best, probably the best coach I ever had.
Yeah, I had him briefly with the Phantoms,
Yeah.
and obviously an assistant with the Flyers. But
Yeah.
I always respected Chief. He's
Yeah.
just a straight shooter, It's like you just want to know where you stand, and just you said being a good communicator is one thing, but the fact that he really cares about his
100%.
people, There's no
100%.
question. You can't.
And I think there
deny
was a reason why in St. Louis they turn around that
Right,
quickly,
yeah.
right? Because he
Yeah.
comes in, he loosen it up a little bit, you know what I mean?
it. Yeah,
He jokes around a little bit, but when it's time to work, like
that's
you
it.
make sure that you're working, and you do anything for that kind of coaches.
Yeah, simple formula,
Yeah,
right?
sure.
Yeah. Talk about when you first landed up in Philly. It was your first year in Philly. You landed up playing with Yager,
Yeah,
right? I mean,
yeah.
that must have been something, obviously, growing up in Czech, and you must have idolized him.
Oh,
I'm sure,
100%.
growing
It
up,
was, I had a Pittsburgh at home, everything, obviously, because before 89, I was born in 89, but before that, the NHL was no show, right? For Czech or Russians or something. There was commies were taking care of it. There was no input from the West. So Yags was drafted in 1990, basically him starting in the NHL right away after commies broke in 89. Everything got on TV and papers, and he was being one of the best players in the league. And I think from 93 or 94, he was the best player for about 10, 11 years in the league, in the world, basically. So he was the number one guy along with Hasek, right?
right?
So me as a forward,
yeah.
you're idolizing Yags. So yeah, it was amazing. I remember I was in Montreal. I was preparing for a season, and I got a phone call from Scott Housen from Columbus. He got traded to Philadelphia, which was shock for me. I didn't expect it, obviously. Yeah, so flew down here for press conference, and Barry Hanrahan picked me up at the airport. He was like, "Oh, this is a list of numbers you can choose from." I'm like, "All right. Well, does anybody wear a 93?" He was like, "Nope." I was like, "Well, it's not here." He was like, "Mr. Snyder doesn't like it." I was like,
Yeah.
"All right."
Yeah.
Wow.
So I
His
took
first number was.
so I took number 9
Yep.
in a training camp, and I just didn't like it.
You
know?
kept saying to me,
Yeah.
I want to wear fucking 93.
Yeah, but I didn't want to go. I was a new guy, I was
Right,
a young
right,
guy.
yeah.
You know what I mean? I wasn't
Yeah.
sure. So then after, I was like, okay, I'm gonna give it one more try. So I went up to Paul Holmgren, and I was like, Homer, like, is there a chance I can wear 93? And with he just sitting there, he's like, I don't give a fuck. You know how Homer is. So we changed it to 93. But yeah, in the summer, I didn't have a contract. I was restricted free agent, and I remember that Philly sent the offer. And when my agent Peter was talking with Homer about me signing that contract, he was the agent of Yags as well.
Oh, okay.
So
Oh,
he
okay,
basically
yeah.
Homer Peter with one phone call said,
Nice.
yeah, we agreed to that, and Yags agreed to do his contract in Philly as well. So we signed at the same time basically, and
great.
yeah, I got here and it was amazing. I mean, Prongs, Yags, Chemo,
Yeah.
Danny Briere. It was a good team, and basically I wasn't playing as much as I do right now, or as much as I did after, but I think my game was at a solid level, and I knew I was gonna break out eventually, and it was one of the best moments for me to play that first year in Philly and enjoy everything and kind of get used to that winning culture and be part of that team, and it was awesome. Everything since that day I got traded, everything just took off. So
Yeah. And
that was amazing.
leading from that, you end up becoming really good friends with our boy Wayne Simmons,
Yeah.
our buddy, and what a great guy, man. Like I missed him the day, as soon as he was gone. But like
that was bittersweet, that game, that outdoor game.
yeah, his
You know
last
what I mean?
one.
His last
Yeah.
one, and you kind of expected he was gonna get traded, but then you never know. Right?
You're
Up
hoping
to the
he's
end.
not.
Yeah.
So it was kind of bittersweet, but it is what it is. You hope for him to do the best job as he can, in the future, and we're still in touch. And we were roommates for 3 years. I have a couple stories as well. with
Yeah,
him,
well,
and, yeah, it was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun. We got along pretty well.
Yeah, he was awesome.
What's it been like? I mean, you're going into your 10th year with the Flyers now, and just the city of Philadelphia, and just adapting to the culture here, and again, not many players get to play in one city for 10 years. So you can talk to that a little bit.
Yeah, kind of. I was thinking about it the other day. I was like, "Fuck, it's my 10th year already here in Philly. That's pretty good."
Oh, yeah, right? Yeah,
you gotta do
moving out
something.
here yet.
You gotta do something right to stay here for such a long time. And yeah, it's like my second home. You know, like I mean, if you're, I don't know, if you would be anywhere for 10 years, if you would call it a second home, but Philly is awesome. I mean, you know, you have 4 sports team, you have a great restaurants, you have just every time you play at home in front of the crowd, it's demanding, 100%.
Yeah.
Shoot.
Yeah.
Yeah. But
I lose it.
they don't understand it.
I know.
With my shot from top of the circle, wrister, when there is no one in front of the net, there is no fucking way I'm scoring. Like, I don't know what would have to happen. The goalie pull his groin and just fall out of the net or something. I don't know. I'm not scoring. So, you know, with me holding the puck extra second and then finding the the open seam somewhere, backdoor or something, that's a better option for me than just wrist it at the net. You know what I mean? Like, and everybody's trying to change me right now. Like, I still have some people, not like the fans, but overall from the hockey communities. You gotta shoot more. You gotta shoot more. I was like, guys, do you understand that you guys don't have the vision as I do?
Yeah, right.
You know what I mean?
Sure,
like,
yeah.
I see the ice completely differently than you.
Yeah, right.
And you standing in a completely different angle
Right.
that I'm having a puck right now. Like, I see different things, right? Obviously.
Yeah.
When you go, my favorite thing is that when you go in 2-on-1, I would say when I'm going 2-on-1, 8 out of 10, I make the pass through the D, and if he hits it right, it's a goal, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right.
So, but 2 out of 10 times, if you fuck up, they're like, "Oh, you should have shot it."
Yeah, of course, yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
should have shot it. Like, if I make that pass, which I usually do, like it's a goal.
Right.
Like, shot it.
Yeah, right.
Of course, I should have shot it if I fucked up that.
Well,
pass.
yeah. It's easy to say after
You know
the
what
fact,
I mean?
right?
Like, thanks for
You say
advice.
that.
You know?
Yeah, sure,
right.
right.
It just but it's fun. You know what I mean? It's fun to play here. It's fun to, you know, playing those home games and you know, because if the team goes and the people pushing you and pushing you, and you can absolutely do things that you couldn't do in any other cities, I think.
And that was the Manscaped moment of the show. Support for Nasty Knuckles is brought to you by Manscaped, who is the best in men's below-the-waist grooming. Manscaped offers precision-engineered tools for your family jewels. They obsess over their technology developments to provide you the best tools for your grooming experience. Before I got my Lawnmower 3.0, I used to have a lot of accidents, and when I see blood, I get a little squeamish. So every time I was shaving down there and cut myself, I almost, fell to the floor. That's why Manscaped has redesigned the electric trimmer. The Manscaped engineering team spent 18 months perfecting the greatest ball hair trimmer ever created, and just released the new and improved Lawnmower 3.0, which I have, and it's awesome. Third generation trimmer features a cutting-edge ceramic blade to reduce grooming accidents thanks to the advanced skin-safe technology pioneered by Manscaped. When I tell you this is premium, I mean premium. The battery lasts up to 90 minutes, so you can take a longer shave. Riley, you might want to look into that.
That's a lot of ball hair.
That is a lot. The waterproof technology allows you to groom in the shower. One of the coolest features is the LED light, which illuminates grooming areas for a closer and more precise trimming. They've also upgraded a 7,000 RPM motor with quiet stroke technology. I was going to say if it's quick stroke, Riles, that is right up your alley. And let's not forget about the charging stand. Show your mower off loud and proud because the intelligently designed stand is a convenient charging dock powered by USB. If you're listening to me speak right now, I want you to experience it firsthand for yourself. Trim that junk of yours. Get 20% off and free shipping with the code KNUCKLES at manscaped.com. That's 20% off with free shipping at manscaped.com and use code KNUCKLES. Again, your balls will thank you.
Nasty's telling me that you had the locker room DJ duties for at least 30 minutes before games.
I do. I have after meetings usually. We have one meeting, second meeting, and then there is 20 to 25 minutes always when guys start to warming up, and then I just start taping my stick, put the sandals on, have a coffee, and just blast it out to music. So
there you go.
Little air guitar,
it's an important role.
Little dancing,
the dancing loosen me up a little bit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I'm going into the rhythm.
I've seen a few videos. You look pretty good.
Yeah,
I've got a lot.
I've
got a lot of
pretty
them.
funny. I remember when Nick Grossman was with us, he was jamming with me. And,
I showed that.
Yeah, oh yeah.
I have that.
Grossy?
Yeah.
When he was jamming with me, and it's a lot of Bruce Springsteen, AC/DC. It kind of makes depending on a feel. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sometimes a little
It's a
fast,
vibe,
sometimes
right?
slower. Yeah, that depends kind of mood I'm in, and just
one of the songs you played the one day, I can't remember where you heard it, but it was like the Pointer Sisters or something.
Pointer Sisters, yeah.
Yeah, and I was dying because I'm like, we just went from Bruce to the Pointer Sisters.
Yeah, I don't have the like I don't go from
The transition.
yeah transition. Like
Yeah.
I'm like, all right, I'm here almost by myself. There's max 2 or 3 guys in the locker room.
Yeah.
Maybe, yeah, right.
Like if you want to be here, it's gonna be blasted.
It's loud. It's
But-
loud.
Like sometimes Lappy comes in after the meetings. He comes in and try to explain something to the guys. So on a purpose, I just turn up
Turn it
the
up.
music. I'm like, all right, it's my time right now. If you
Yeah,
want
right.
to talk to them, take them to the other room. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
right, yeah.
So we always laugh about it. But yeah, it's the Pointer Sisters. It's on my playlist sometimes as well. And that's kind of loosening me up because you're jumping around. You know,
Right,
jump.
right. Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
jump. So you're jumping around. And yeah, but my go-to, you know, it's Atlantic City.
Yep,
You know,
yep. That's
Unplugged,
usually the last.
MTV.
Yeah,
That's everybody knows that. When that song comes on, anywhere we are with the team, we're like, oh, Bruce Springsteen, Atlantic City, JK song.
yeah.
Everybody knows.
100%, man. That's awesome. I used to love that part of the day because you never know what you're going to get in the first part. I guess Lotz usually is coming in and putting his stuff on. And
There's some like rhythm to that. So
Yeah.
I think when you come in before the first meeting, it's a R&B and hip hop,
Yep.
and I usually come as the last guy to the locker room right before 5, so I don't hear it, right? So I come in, and after meetings I go, and about 30-minute mark, we go on the ice at 16. 30-minute mark, Latsy's taking over again
Yeah.
to get some beats into it, but yeah, I have a lot of time.
That's
That's fun.
like a well-oiled machine.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
You did like the Mac Miller.
Yeah,
The
yeah.
year-
The
that was
winning
a
song.
great winning
that was
song.
that's from the memories.
Yeah,
It's a deja vu
exactly.
from the first year.
Yep.
That Mac Miller. The
Every time.
memories, just the team and winning, and you know, the series with Pittsburgh.
Yeah, it was
a lot of
awesome.
fun.
Jakey scored the overtime goal in game 1.
Game 1.
Remember
yeah.
that? That was
I was
awesome.
shit that game too. That was my first playoff game. Like I only played in Columbus my second year. We got shit kicked by Detroit, right?
It was
Yeah.
4 straight.
Four
right?
straight,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
they were loaded.
Yeah.
Like, I
Yeah,
mean,
of course, yeah.
You know, they had Phil Pula.
Pretty good team.
On the third line, they had Phil Pula, Franzen, and Hoodler. I mean,
That was your third
Right,
line.
yeah.
I mean, D stacked up, you know. My buddy Nick Cronwall on blue
Yeah,
line.
yeah, your buddy, yeah. Yeah.
There was a stacked team, so they kind of gave us the business, and then in Pittsburgh, I remember the game when I was, you know, everything is 2 steps faster, right, in playoffs. So I didn't know where I was. I got hit like 4 times. I was like, whoa, this is fast, and you know, I got that lucky bounce. We won that first game, and everything just
Yeah.
relieved itself, and we just
That was a
went from
great
there.
series, man. That was so much fun. We kind of talked about that with Hartsy leading up that gong show we had in Pittsburgh,
Uh-huh.
Oh, yeah,
you know,
right.
before, and then that series was just.
It was like a second last game before the.
yeah, I think it was the last game actually, because we were in Pitt, and then we turned around and played them. I think maybe
No, it was
second
like
last.
a second or
Okay,
third last
yeah.
game. There wasn't many games like, but
Right.
the seating was set, everything. Like,
Yes,
nobody-
Yeah.
exactly.
And they
Yeah.
just absolutely balled it up, and
It was crazy, man.
yeah, that's
was
when
crash
that was when Chief was holding Lavi.
Yeah,
yeah,
right.
yeah.
The
He
Hulkster
was
showed
starting
up
over,
there.
Yeah, it was
that's
fun.
funny.
It was fun.
That was
I
funny.
remember when Ash had a Shanner.
Yeah.
He had a Shanner and he was pounding him, and Pavel Kubina standing beside him like, "Hey, leave him alone!" Like,
Yeah,
he
yeah,
just-
just
he
punching
just
him.
keep
His forearm.
Yeah. Kubi,
Hey, stop.
meanwhile, the biggest guy on the ice.
Yeah, I know,
He's
right?
like,
He's a
"Would
big
you
dude."
stop? Stop
It's
beating
just
him
like,
up?"
come on,
You know?
just like keep giving it.
Yeah, Ash wouldn't let up either.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Good memories, but
So, one of the coolest things I was able to do, which obviously hockey's given us all like a lot of fun things. Obviously, I didn't play, but last year going to Czech, man, that was awesome. And Jake was an unbelievable host. Like, I mean, the food. Now I always get Jake's always like, it's hard when you go to Czech and you eat this food. But oh my god, the food was amazing, man. It was
I was
awesome.
always in my lifetime, basically. That's my 13th year. I was always a little higher on body fat. Like no matter what I did, like I was always higher, right, than the rest of the guys. And you have a guys coming at 8-9% lean. So I come from Czech, and then last year we go to Czech. I was like, yeah, guys, this is what we get. Like we don't get salads. We
Yeah,
get
boiled
we
potatoes.
get
right?
goulash. We have
Unbelievable.
goulash and those thick sauces and
Yeah,
the Czech
right.
beer and like.
Sure,
Well,
sure.
what
Yeah.
can- what
It's
can
not
you
it's
do,
not
right?
low calorie food.
No, not at all. And then I go twice a week or once a week. I go to my mom's, and you know she's got 3 lunches prepared. Like, oh, what do you want? Like this and try that. I'm like, Mom, fuck, like, come on.
I'm a pro athlete here,
Yeah,
Mom.
I can't do it. I'm getting old. Like I gotta slow it down a little bit. But the Czech trip, it was amazing.
It was
everything. We landed from Switzerland. We went for dinner.
Yeah.
Whole team, everybody. It was a good setup. Then we went for a couple of beers with the boys, and then we ended up going out Friday night as well.
Yeah,
It was fun.
We everywhere we walked out, there were people.
And paparazzi.
I mean,
It was,
yeah, it was. I mean, that's kind of comes with it, I guess. I mean, you're captain of the national team before,
Yeah,
and I mean, it's
everybody was
of,
excited for that event.
Oh, I
Right,
bet, yeah,
right.
it's big time, yeah.
Yeah, and I kind of not expected that, but like obviously you just go with it. I mean,
Yeah.
you
Yeah,
know, I just
have
told the
some
boy,
fun
just
with
be
it.
careful. You know, don't go out, and when you're coming out of the bar, just don't face plant on the side.
right.
exactly.
There's gonna be a picture.
Just
for
don't
sure.
make a fool of yourself, yeah.
just in case.
Yeah, right.
That trip, like you said, I think it was the first night because we had a couple days in between, so we all went out, and I won't even say who it was, but a guy that usually doesn't have too many somehow ended up with me, and we're leaving this one bar. We're like in a basement,
Yeah.
and it was awesome. And I think we had broke free from you.
I went home. I went the first night. I would say I went after like 2:30.
Yeah.
2:30. I think I went to bed. I went home because I went to see my family. So I took it easy that night.
Well,
Checkway,
the rest of us didn't.
Yeah.
But anyway, I ended up with one of the guys on the team. He's a pretty quiet guy, but we're walking out of this thing, and he's like, let's go somewhere else. All right. There's a helmet hanging,
Yeah.
and it's not the one we got in Switzerland that you guys were wearing for the player of the game, but there's a helmet hanging. There's just a white CCM helmet. I would never expect this from this guy. He grabs it, he puts it on. He's wearing it everywhere. So we went to another bar, and then he ends up passing out with it on,
Oh, man.
right?
Yeah.
So his phone dies. His wife is calling just to check, because the time.
Yeah,
but
sure,
she didn't hear from him because he was crippled, and so he's like, the phone's ringing, or he FaceTimed. First of all, he was FaceTiming actually when he went to bed, and she didn't tell him, but she was taking screenshots. He's got the helmet on. He doesn't realize he's got it on, right?
And he's passed out already.
And so
he's holding it. He's passed out with that helmet.
She's just taking screenshots of him.
Oh, man.
Then he's supposed to meet the boys for lunch, like the guys have a
They
thing.
went golfing, I think. They went
Or golfing. That's what it was.
they
Yeah,
went
sorry, it was golfing. And this guy's nowhere to be found. So they call. So now this guy telling me the story later in the day. He's crying. He's laughing so hard at himself. He goes, phone rings in the room. First of all, I grabbed the remote, and I'm like, oh, it's a remote. So I grabbed the phone, and I was like, clink. He's like, the hell? He had the helmet on.
No.
So he's like, where'd this come from? He had no idea.
clue.
So I have a video of him
Oh, my God.
running. Like I'm actually sending Ben Peterson a picture because they had Jimmy Garofalo poster for some reason, this place we were at. And I'm like, hey, send him a message. Hey, Ben, me and this guy are here. And he comes running up behind like the most unathletic guy you've ever seen. He's got this helmet on. And he's like, he didn't even say anything. He's just waving. And Ben's like, that's the best thing I've ever seen in my life. But it was just such a good time, man.
Yeah, the last night too, after the game, it's like a little bar underground. Everybody, it was packed. Like you couldn't move in there. And we had a bag in the back. We had a table, so we went there. It was so much fun. It was great. That was awesome. Fuck.
There were a lot of bars there with you go downstairs because what was the Elvis themed bar we went to?
Gene.
Yeah.
That was the first time we went there.
So I ended up going. I didn't know there was a downstairs. I go downstairs and it's so different than upstairs.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like almost like a old school hardcore rock. Like
yeah, it is.
I mean, like punk.
Oh, yeah,
place.
sure, yeah. It was
And
underground.
there's girls dancing in a cage.
Yeah.
Oh,
And
wow.
one of the guys that was with us that works for the team, does the social media, we're like, oh, we're getting you a shot. They put a helmet on him, and they're beating him with a baseball bat. It was crazy. Things on fire. I'm like, what is going on? And I have video of that, too. It was crazy. But, yeah, what a time that was.
Good,
and
man.
you're a great host, man. You showed us a lot of stuff in our time
There
there.
was a soccer match in it too, right?
That was awesome, man. I've never been to
Champions
one.
League. The Prague team played Borussia Dortmund this Wednesday, so we got tickets. NHL got us the tickets.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah, the Blackhawks actually were there
Yeah.
too. It was kind of funny.
Oh, right on.
We were all there. It was awesome. I have some good video of that as well. And
That was good.
it,
Prague is always good, man.
yeah,
Prague is always good.
that was my first time there, so it was awesome to have you kind of showing us around too. So
You're a good team guy. Who's the funniest guy in the locker room?
Funniest guy.
besides you,
Besides you.
Who's-
you-
I would put you up there for sure.
I gotta go with gotta go with Raffle. Yeah. He's got that kind of humor. He loves to fuck around, but with a straight face.
Yeah, right.
So most of the time, if you don't know him, you think he's serious.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
Like, and he's just doing the stupidest shit. Like, you know what I mean? Just because he's
I know.
bored or something.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
He's bored.
So we have a medicals, and there's like 2 huge lines for ortho and EKG or whatever. And then Hazy comes in. He was almost ready to go into ortho, but he said, "Fuck that! There is no 180. Where's the EKG?" So Raf is sitting like close by. He was like, "Where's EKG?" He was like, "Oh, you gotta go the other way, turn left around." He was like, "Okay." So he's completely sent him the other way. You know? He comes back in 5 minutes. He was like, "Raf, where is it?" And he just giggling, like stupid shit like that. I don't know where. You know what I mean? So he's a funny fucker. That's for sure. Lots is funny. Lots
is really funny too, man. He makes me. He used to make me laugh a lot. I remember we were in Calgary. I think you were in the room, but I set up a video camera, and when the guys went on the ice, Raph had gotten a new suit, so his pants had really long pockets in them, and he had his cell phone in it. So I turned his pants inside out, and I stitched across his pocket, so his phone's in here. And he's you could get his hand in his pocket, but his phone was down here. But he's thinking the things. So we're all sitting there. Simmer's laying on the table, and I'm like just watching, and I got the video going, and he's not paying attention to anyone but himself. And he's like looking at his pants, and he's like reaching in, and he's like pulling them inside out. And he sees his phone, right? And I just kind of go. And I kind of start laughing, and he looks at me and goes, "What the fuck is going on?" He goes, "I thought there was a secret pocket in my pants," and the whole room just dies. Like, oh man,
oh, that's classy.
Oh, he's a funny guy though.
Yeah. Oh man, that is funny.
Yeah, I remember that. A lot of memories over those 10 years. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah. Play with some beauties.
You know what? One thing I was gonna say was Jake. So I used to do this thing in college, and I used to do it all the time. I actually did it at the gym on the phone that day. We had the conference.
Oh yeah, right.
So I just talk really stupid, and it doesn't make any sense. But some people act like they understand me,
Yeah.
So Jake, I did it one time, and he's dying. So now we did it the other night.
I picked it up right away because something like that I was doing to my buddies back home in some kind of way.
Yeah.
Because I was always saying something, and then I just mumbled the last word, and they were like, "Can you pass me Aizu?"
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they're like, "What? What?" I was like, "Yes, what?" And then he was looking at something at the table. He was like, "What is he saying? Like, what do you want?" And everybody's dying because they know already.
So we're a lot of times on the road. Guys, someone new working the room or whatever, like Jake would be like, "Hey, get this guy." So there's a guy in Calgary, he's a great guy, Dean. He takes care of the visiting teams, and he's a real hyper guy, like more hyper than I am probably. And he comes cruising into the room, and I said, Jake, he's like, "Hey, get him going a little bit." And I said, "Hey, what's going on around here?" He's like, "What? What happened?" I said, "Well, boys are coming off the ice and something came back." This guy grabs Voracek, he's got him by the thing, and it's out here with a sledgehammer. There's an Accord sitting outside the door. Hexy's losing his mind. The cops there, the red light's going.
And then he looks at me, and I'm like, "Yeah, it's a man." I just mumbled something, right? I was like, and because they know I have an accent, right? So they don't know if I just like
can't speak English or what.
They were like, Okay, yeah.
And so I'm like, I said, "But it's a bar. We gotta have them." They're like, "Where are the cops? Like, what's going on?" Like, "I don't know what's happening. I'm gonna take care of this," he says, and walks around. I didn't say one thing that made a bit of sense. So we finished the first period, and boys are coming in, and I run in, usually get the gloves, and so this gentleman comes walking down, head of security in the Saddle Dome, and he goes, "Are you Derek?" And I'm like, "Yes, sir. What's up?" And he goes, "We understand what happened with earlier. We're gonna put some extra security down here." I'm like, what are you talking about? He goes, "Well, we heard that a fan came out and he had a sledgehammer and he grabbed Jake Voracek," and I'm like, "Oh man, no, we were just messing around, bro." And he goes, "Really?" I said, "A sledgehammer?" I was like, "I was messing with Dean," and the guy's like starts dying laughing. He goes, "Okay," and then the one time we're in Edmonton,
before he said,
yeah,
when you do it with a teammate. and they're like, look, it's the best right away. When he's trying to explain it, they try to pick it up.
Yeah.
And then I hop in, I said, and they're like looking, they're like, yeah. Like smile, like
they're too proud to say that they don't understand.
Look away. And like somebody else jumps in, hey, what they were saying? He's like, I don't know, man. I couldn't understand shit.
We got Bronner. We got Bronner,
and
because Claude looks over at me. He winks. He goes, "I put fake tattoo on Elvis." So he's telling Bronner, "No, Nasty. They got this numbing cream, so Nasty let him get a tattoo." So, Bronner's like, "Come on, man. Is that real?" I'm like, "Yeah, man." I said, "They have this stuff," and he's like, "Really?" I said, "Yeah, we went to the shop at the car." Went around, he put it in there. He didn't even cry, like sour. He came back to his body. He put it right, Jake. And Jake starts just going, and Bronner's got this look of like
are you nuts?
He's looking through us, and he's like, "Oh, wow, okay." He just takes a sip of his beer, and we're just crying.
You see the guy at the table just holding their beer, just like crying.
Even Coots is dying laughing. But
the Edmonton was the best though.
So he looks at me. He's always usually the last guy to leave the ice, and for some reason he skates over to me, and we're kind of talking. He's drinking a little bit of water, and he goes, "Hey, Nas, get this guy." So the cameraman always has a guy behind him with the pulling the cord.
Yep.
So this gentleman's standing there, and I'm like, "Hey, buddy, you gonna be out here for a minute?" And he goes, "Yeah, what's up?" And I said, "Listen, 4-minute mark and stop it. He's got to be there because he needs it for sure. Like, don't just make sure you don't mess it up. It's what are the red light." Okay, man, thanks. So he's like automatically.
So I finished out. He looked at me. I was like, "So, and I skated away, right?"
This guy literally dropped the cord, and I'm like, "Thanks, man." He's like, "What'd you say?" And I said, "You're about the 4-minute mark." Good. Like then he starts coming across the ice after me. He's crying, literally tears running down his face. We go in the locker room, and we're just dying. And he's like, "Nas, you just got this guy out here." And everyone's laughing.
That's hilarious.
It was funny. Another thing, Jakey, that I always. Like we're talking about being funny. Jake sometimes would go out, and I always would say to him, if just one person saw you do this. So he would come over, have a drink of water, and be like, men's league guy. So he starts skating like straight legged and stick kind of like so awkwardly and fast, and then shake his hair like that. But he would go a full lap and shoot it 20 feet wide. And I'm like, I just hope someone saw it and like, what is wrong with him?
Sometimes I have some teammates see me, they just fucking look at me, they just start crying, laughing, man. But
it was one of the funniest things. Yeah. And another thing that I miss, like in warm-ups, Jakey come over and be like, "Nas, feel pretty good today. I feel like I'm about 50 years old today." And then when he didn't feel good, it's like, about 65 today. How you feeling today? And one day we're in the room, and you're doing your guitar and dancing around it, and I'm like, "Jake, you're like, why don't you stretch out?" He goes, "Nasty, if I fucking stretch, I'll get hurt." I don't stretch. It works. I'm like, "You're right. Yeah. It does work." But anyway,
stretching is overrated.
Stretching's overrated.
So it is, because I stretched one year, one summer, and one camp. I started stretching. So I was pretty flexible, right? Which was good off the ice. You felt pretty good. But as soon as you hop on the ice, my strides were so off. I was longer on my strides, and it's absolutely fucked up my skating.
Yeah.
And even in battles, like, you feel stronger. If you're tighter, obviously it makes sense. You feel stronger, right? On your skate. But if you lose, you don't have that stability. So I'm like, fuck, I'm not doing that again.
Yeah, no.
Cool, man. Thanks again.
All right, guys.
I really
appreciate it.
Thank
you.
Yeah, man.
Thanks.
Yeah, that was awesome. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Brown, of course.
All right. That episode was brought to you by Settlemyre Skate Sharpening. For all your skate sharpening and hockey needs, visit settlemyreskateSharpening.com, and Body Check Wellness, hemp-derived CBD and functional mushroom blends. Visit bodycheckwellness.com for all your wellness needs. So want to thank Jake Voracek for hopping on the Nasty Knuckles podcast. He is truly a funny dude, and had me cracking up, obviously, several times. So I want to thank him for hopping on. Always appreciate, guys opening up and, sharing their stories. I mean, Jake very well, Nasty. I mean, this guy is he's a character. We talked about that. I mean, he's a funny dude. I mean, in the locker room, he has got to loosen up that locker room. There's no question.
Oh man. He talked a little bit about his DJing, his 25 to 30 minutes. If if you happen to be lucky enough to walk in or walk by that locker room and you don't really know Jake, and you peek your head in, and he is playing the hardest air guitar you've ever seen in your life, singing to the top of his lungs, which thank God the stereo in there is so loud. You really can't hear him because he's the worst singer you would ever want to hear. But the funny part is Robert Hagg is always half dressed 2 hours before the game. So he's just sitting there, just looking down. Meanwhile, Jake's dancing around the locker room, playing his Bruce, playing AC/DC. I mean, it's a sight. I almost got used to seeing it, but it still made me smile because that's his warm up. That's really, that's how he warms up. I think we spoke about it in the episode. I used to say to him, Jakey, why don't you stretch a little bit? Jesus, if I fucking get hurt, if I fucking stretch, I don't stretch,
No stretching in his pregame.
So that's his warm up, but it's great to see, man.
That's hilarious. Does Hager even acknowledge him, or is he totally dialed in, face down?
He's face down, but if he looks over, like if I walked in, he would look over at me and just give me the old, huh? Okay. He doesn't even put headsets at, some guys wear their own. Right. He doesn't even have any on. He just sits there, hands folded on his knees, thinking about the game. I mean, you had Robert Hagg, and he's a competitor, man. So he's always focused. But
he's dialed in.
Yeah, he is. So it's a sight to see, though.
Yeah, he probably got that front row seats that high-end entertainment with Jake. I'm sure he might have a career after hockey in the music space. Who knows?
Yeah,
but,
exactly.
That was the best time for me before the game was that time in the locker room where we were able to play the music and just have fun, right? I mean, that was like the time when hockey was really, truly fun, is because there was just guys getting, in their element, getting ready and, shooting the shit and having fun. I mean, that to me was the time that I, cherished the most. And, to be the DJ, at least he's partially DJ, at times, that is an honor, and it is, and it comes with some serious, criteria. I mean, you have to be able to play the right tunes to get the guys going. Otherwise they'd be shut down so fast. Right. I mean, the guys, they don't like it. You're going to hear about it and they're going to shut you down. So
they will shut it down quick, especially veterans. But Riles, you used to get there at 3:00 for a 7:00 game. So,
oh yeah, just to get ready for 4 minutes of ice time, right?
Yeah, it was the time in the afternoon normally where we would get a half hour, but you put an end to that coming in at 3. So
I'm sorry, man. I apologize.
No, man, it was great. I loved it. It was great. I'm just kidding, but you're right. It's actually, as you get to know the players, you basically know who's DJing at a certain time.
Sure.
Their music. Scott Lawton's always got a great mix. He has hip hop. He's got some good tunes that everybody likes, and he'll throw in a little Tragically Hip, a little rock.
I have the hip.
And so, yeah, you have to have the hip, man, in a hockey locker room. But then it's like you said, it's Jake's time. That's just hard. That's hard stuff. Or Bruce, which he thinks is hard, but it's not. But love Bruce Springsteen, but that's his go-to. Yeah, man, it is a great time. It's something. Those are, like you said, little things you miss. Like, I know I miss those times, the coffee talk in the morning, and even that part, because the music's blaring, but guys were in my area where you can hear the tunes, but you're talking, and you miss that stuff. You miss it, and it's fun.
I know I miss that. And there's definitely a formula and a science behind the right tunes, but also, like, it's like a sanctuary. I think before games, it's like you come there and everyone does it differently. That's the funny part about it. I know for me, it was, cranking 8 Sudafeds and 20 cups of coffee and whatever else I could put in my body to jack myself up. And other guys are, meditating and visualizing and, different parts to their, their preparation. But
Pilates and everything.
Yeah. Kickball, obviously, a little soccer action. But that's the beautiful part of being an individual, a professional individual, right? I mean, is that everyone's got their own formula to prepare. And a lot of fun, right? You see all kinds of different different characters around the locker room there. So another thing I wanted to talk about with Jake, which I found, humorous, and I knew it went on because I've experienced it and seen it before. Not that I was ever on the power play, but how competitive these guys are, when you're trying to snap the puck around, who has the puck, who wants the puck, where's it going, who's it going through, and how these guys talk to each other on the bench when it gets heated, because obviously they're competitive, they're trying to score. And it doesn't always work out. Obviously, if a high power play percentage is, a little over 20, I'm up to 25% would be high. Talk about your experiences on the bench, seeing these guys go at it and almost try and kill each other between power plays.
Sometimes you're worried there might be a punch thrown.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Once you get to know these guys, I mean, they love each other. You've seen it. Yep. But I mean, it gets heated because it's frustrating. For the last, I don't know how many years, the power play was really good for the Flyers. I mean, Joey Mullen was here for a while running that. And I believe they stayed in the top 10, under the top 10, his whole time here.
Right.
It's just been a good thing. And that helps when you have Claude Giroux running your sidewall of a power play. But I'll tell you what, when things didn't click, they came back, and you thought, just like Jake explains in the episode, like I thought punches were going to fly, and you want to be like, hey boys, it's okay, settle down. But someone's turning around telling me, shut the fuck up if I do that, and I don't blame the last thing you want to hear as an equipment guy, but you watch them, how good they are. They know how good they are, but it's not that easy. It's a National Hockey League. Easy. And it's funny. Sometimes people are, hey, Reg, got to get the power play going.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
Slap shot, but it's not that easy. They're trying. Every team, every power play unit's trying. But they would go at it and then go into the locker room. They're laughing about it.
Oh yeah.
What'd you say to me, Simmer? Did you tell me, shove something up my ass? Like, what was that? And then the guys are laughing at it, but and it always helps to score a goal.
Oh, no kidding. Does it?
That always helps.
Does it ever? Most people don't realize is that the power play fails 75% of the time.
It does.
You know what I mean? And again, that's a good power play. It's going to be 25%, successful. Yeah. So, I mean, it is work scoring in any league, let alone in the NHL with high end guys and high end penalty kills, right? I mean watch ton of video on this stuff, so it's interesting, but I'm not surprised that guys get that heated because it's their livelihood, right? Everyone wants to score. They're trying to score and trying to win the game,
right?
And when they don't accomplish what they're trying to accomplish, it's frustrating, right? Always something special going on the bench. That's for sure. Never a dull moment. I mean, you're right there. You're right there in the mix for years, right? I mean, there have to be in a few things you've heard in your day that you almost scratch your head and wonder if you meant that.
For sure. That's why I said to Jake, could you imagine if we were able to mic?
Oh man, that
even on me, just to catch everything, I would pay money if I could have done that over my 26 years.
Oh my God.
I mean, from Billy Barber to Lavi,
right? So many good one-liners.
I mean, oh my God.
On the bench.
I remember being in a world championship in Moscow, and Mike Sullivan's the coach who's coaching the Penguins. We're playing quarterfinal game, and there's about 10 people in the building, and it holds about 18,000. So you're hearing everything, and Sully's voice is so loud, you can hear it down the block. And first play of the game, we had this player, I don't want to say his name, but he was kind of a floater, skilled guy, scored 30 in the league, did keep himself in the best shape. So he's over with the team, and he's starting the game. So we're 30 seconds in, and Sully elbows me. And I'm like, yo, I'm used to Peter Laviolette doing that to me. Right? Because he was just always jacked up, right? So Sully hits me, and it's so quiet in there. And he says, Nasty, is this guy going to try today? Is he even going to try? And now I'm behind all the players. I don't want to embarrass anyone. Obviously, I'm the equipment guy. I know the player heard him on the – everyone in the building, the guy selling popcorn in the second level,
to the 10.
To the 10 people that are there, heard him. And I'm like, what's that, Sully? And he says, you fucking heard me. What is he going to try today? And I'm like, oh, yeah, he's going to get her going. Don't worry about that. And all the guys are like looking back at me, laughing. He had 2 and 2. Went 2 and 2. Yeah, he did. We lost, and I didn't believe, honestly, in my heart, he was going to get it going because I was thinking he was ready to go home. But anyway, yeah, I've heard a ton of things on the bench. I'm sure you have too, obviously.
Oh yeah, some funny stuff.
Even things coming out of your mouth to other players, man, which you probably don't remember because you were pretty jacked up.
It was pretty ruthless, some of the things I said.
Yeah.
I regret some of them.
Well, it's part of game.
I know.
It's used to happen. You can't do that.
It's skill mode. You expect, man. I was trying to threaten guys and take their heads off, Part of it. Oh yeah, I definitely missed that part of it. There was just like this other dimension within the game, right? I mean, you got to go on the ice, and I could hardly play the game, but you got to play the hockey game. But then you also got to, like, for me, it's like you got to earn your keeps when you're sitting on the bench, right? You got to show the coach that you're still in the game. You can't just sit there and start playing scoreboard poker, too early.
I'll tell you what, though, it goes a long way when a guy like yourself. I remember last year, Chris Stewart. In a preseason game stood up and said something to someone, and the kid's comeback was, why? Because Stewie basically said, you touch him again, and I don't care if I get suspended, you will not skate off the ice in your own power, power. And the kid just looked at him and said, why? He goes, because that's what's going to happen. And this kid didn't touch anyone the rest of the game, But it does go a long way when you have guys like that. I know it's a little different now, but it is funny to hear and watch others' reactions.
Yeah, the power of accountability, right? We talked about that. It's a real thing. A lot of people want to dismiss it as as hocus pocus, but when someone's in your face and tells you, punch their fist through your mouth, it's for real, right? I mean, it will change the way you behave. There's no question.
Oh, 100%. I remember right before, it was probably the year before you came, when Chief was ending his career, Craig Ruby with the Phantoms, and he was playing and coaching a little bit as well. We were playing in the center. And you remember the big tough guy, David Kochi, who ended up making, you remember Coach?
Yeah.
So he's running around. He's a big guy. Like, we did have a tough team, but he crushed someone right at our bench, and Chief was playing in the game, and Chief stood up and he said his normal line, hey, big boy. And Coachy looks at him. He says, you touch one of these guys again, you better find the nearest exit.
Yeah, right.
And Coachy's like, looks at him. He's like, why? He goes, because you're fucking dead.
Right.
And everybody on the bench is like, and Coachy's like, okay, man, relax, like that. And I'm like, oh my God. But those things, like you said, were they mean a lot to the team too.
Oh yeah, I know. Well, I think it helps give guys confidence too, right? I mean, knowing that someone's got your back, and like you don't really have to deal with that guy because that, the tough guy's got that guy. I mean, it does give guys a peace of mind. You know what I mean? Sure. I've seen it for sure. So. All right, that pretty much wraps up episode 5 of Nasty Knuckles. Be sure to tune in every Monday and next Monday for episode 6 featuring Kevin Hayes.
Hollywood.
Yeah, Hollywood. Thanks again for tuning in. Have a great week.